Good morning and welcome to the third chapter of developmental psychology. We have come to the point in human development where we as people are already born. So this chapter, the third chapter, I believe more than anything else, if I could put it in one sentence, that would be the sentence that would say, this is about what do we have when we start? What is this baby like now that the baby is born? What can the baby do? What can the baby not do? What comes with the package when you open the package? What is there inside? And here's the thing. Um, Sometimes we forget. We look at these newborn babies. We look at babies. We look at children. We may even look at adolescents and other adults. We might easily think so much about how we have things in common and how all babies are able to do something or they're interested in developing something or something that we forget these are human beings. There's something wonderful about the human being. I'm speaking as a psychologist because psychologists appreciate the individuality of humans. We appreciate choice and thought and feeling, all those wonderful things that make us alive, truly alive. Not alive like your heart's beating or your brain has brainwaves, but alive. And this is first seen when we first take a look at this wonderful creature called a newborn baby. First of all, you might think, well, the baby's just laying there, can't do anything, physically can't move. You have a hard day, they're not going to be able to get up and go pour you a drink. Shouldn't be pouring you a drink anyway. That's not something you should ask your children to do, especially your newborn babies. But they couldn't do it anyway if you asked. They eat, they sleep, they cry. Certain systems of their bodies work, and I don't know that you can do about it. Well, there is something you could do. You could stop feeding them so they would not do that anymore, but that wouldn't be good. So, what do we really get here in this package? First of all, they are capable of cognition, some thought. They're not thinking what you are thinking. So this is why, like you take this 1 or 2 month baby and the baby's crying and you're like, well, I don't want the child to learn to manipulate me. Okay, they don't have that ability to learn anything like that. That would require an ability to see multiple dimensions that babies are not capable of doing, so they wouldn't really learn anything like that. So here's what they are capable of thinking. They have reflexes. Like all of us, we have reflexes. In fact, babies probably have more reflexes than we do because we get used to stuff and start to ignore it where the baby's going to react. So they have a cause and effect kind of reflex. So there is something cognitively going on because their brain is able to bring up thousands or millions or whatever your little personal theology is, years of human experiences in order to have a reflexive reaction. So they're able to do that. I think you also have to take into account that there's a diversity in newborn babies. If you've been around enough of them, you know they don't all act the same. And we'll call this temperament. Temperament is that part of your personality with which you were born. Not everybody is the same. Not every baby is the same. Some of them cry more than others. Some of them are happier more than others. Some of them are better with strangers than others. Some of them play and focus on one thing for a long time, and some of them are their interests are all over the place. and they don't necessarily stay that way. They do change over the course of their childhood, but they do have a temperament. And I think also, you have to consider in this chapter both the question of what do we have all have in common as people, and then the second part is how are we different. That temperament is how we're different. A lot of the physical development is how we're all the same, somewhat. So we have nerves. Our nerves are working. Our senses are working. All of our senses are 100% except that one, which would be eyesight. Your eyes are generally closed in utero, and so when you open them up after you're born, it takes a little while to get them working. It's estimated a newborn baby has eyesight that would be measured as 22,000. That would mean they need glasses, but they don't need glasses at birth because it gets better within a couple of months. Probably by 3 months, it's to 20/20. Anyway, that's senses. One thing we have to learn, one of the first things we have to learn is what we'll call perception. Sensation is somewhat automatic. You see what you see, you hear what you hear, you feel what you feel, you smell what you smell, taste what you taste. Perception is where you assign the meaning to it. So we have to learn that. Now, newborn babies do perceive certain sounds, the sounds of your voice. If you've been around and you've been on the scene, if you've been carrying the child or you've been hanging out with the mom or whatever, the baby probably recognizes your voice. That voice could be very calming to that newborn baby, and so don't think because that's a newborn baby you wouldn't know anything. No, it knows your voice. Now, if you've been on the scene, you've been yelling and screaming, and mom's been feeling a lot of stress and pressure around the time that the baby would hear your voice, then that voice is going to be associated with stress and tension, and baby's going to remember that. Anyway, man, I'm not trying to lay a trip on you, but I'm just saying that if you ever have a opportunity to have a kid or to be on the scene of a developing child, remember that. Keep your voices down. Be a peacemaker, anyway, and it will work. Your child will be calmer. All right. One last point, this chapter introduces the concept of self-awareness. Babies, when they're born, because physically they're connected with mother, that's the world, is child, mother, everything is one thing, and we gradually learn to separate ourselves to become a separate person. That we are a separate person, that's not a choice. So we're a separate person. Me, you over there. Everybody, each person's separate. Okay, so toward that we're also going to learn, I'm thinking this, I'm feeling this, you're thinking and feeling something else. Okay, of course that's 3 years old when we master that, but we're going to get to that point. Self-awareness, awareness of our own thoughts and our own feelings and all that. This is just a wonderful journey, an adventure, human life, and I hope you enjoy this chapter. It's a good book. I think it's got good things in it. I don't think any of you are old enough, young enough, old enough, whatever, to remember being born in your first couple of years of life. You may remember certain aspects of it. I would say think about those certain aspects, and I bet all of them are related to some extreme emotion, usually happiness. Okay, so anyway, put yourself in the textbook when they're talking about developing people, and because you've already lived this adventure, you are already the expert on developmental psychology because you're still alive. Anyway, hope you have a great week. Looking forward to seeing you in Chapter 4, and take it easy.